2008. Two guys in San Francisco can't pay rent. They blow up air mattresses in their apartment and charge strangers to sleep on them. 15 angel investors hear the pitch and say no. 7 more don't even bother to reply. Fast forward 6 years. Same company, $10.5 billion valuation. No traditional ad budget, no PR agency, no marketing playbook anyone had used before. Here's what makes this case study worth your time. Airbnb didn't grow because they outspent their competition. They grew because they built a system, SEO, user-generated content, and a content flywheel that compounded automatically with every single transaction. By 2011, they were worth $1.3 billion. By 2014, $10.5 billion. By 2020, they IPO'd at $47 billion during the worst year the travel industry had ever seen. In the next 9 minutes, we're breaking down exactly how they did it, and what any small business can take from this playbook starting this week. Let's set the scene properly, because the context matters. Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, both designers, not engineers, not marketers, are broke in San Francisco. They can't make rent. Their idea? Let strangers sleep in their apartment on air mattresses and charge for it. Not a hotel, not a hostel, a stranger's living room. 8 investors rejected them outright. 7 more never replied. That's 15 total passes on what would become one of the most valuable companies in the world. To keep the lights on, they designed and sold novelty cereal boxes, Obama O's during the 2008 election, and raised $30,000. That's how close Airbnb came to not existing. They got into Y Combinator in 2009, and Paul Graham gave them the piece of advice that changed everything. Do things that don't scale. That phrase became their entire early strategy. Don't run ads, don't hire agencies. Go deep on human connection, and then build systems around what works. The core insight they arrived at. The product isn't the room. The product is trust between 2 strangers. Everything they built from that point on was designed to create, scale, and compound that trust. Here's the first move, and it's one of the most studied growth hacks in startup history. In 2009, Craigslist had over 50 million monthly users actively searching for accommodation. Airbnb was a tiny startup nobody had heard of. Instead of trying to build their own audience from scratch, they asked a different question. Where does our audience already exist? The answer was Craigslist. So they built a bridge. Airbnb's engineering team wrote an automated script that emailed every new accommodation listing on Craigslist, inviting those hosts to list on Airbnb instead. At the same time, Airbnb listings were cross-posted back onto Craigslist, turning a competitor's platform into a free top-of-funnel traffic engine. Cost? $0. Result? Airbnb's first explosive growth spike. This is what Paul Graham meant by doing things that don't scale. It wasn't a scalable tactic. It was scrappy, manual, and slightly gray area. But it proved the concept. And once it worked, they built systems around it. The lesson for any small business: don't build an audience from scratch when one already exists somewhere. Find your Craigslist and build a bridge there. The second move is simpler and, honestly, more powerful for most small businesses. Airbnb had a conversion problem in New York. People were visiting the platform, looking at listings, and not booking. The product was real. The problem was the content. Hosts were photographing their spaces with 2009-era phone cameras. Bad lighting, cluttered rooms, no visual storytelling. Nobody would trust a stranger's home based on those photos. Chesky and Gebbia's response? They flew to New York themselves, rented a $5,000 camera, and personally photographed 24 listings. No agency, no budget. Just founders doing what needed to be done. The result? NYC bookings multiplied 2 to 3 times within weeks. Monthly revenue doubled. They then scaled this into a global professional photography program for hosts worldwide. The ROI on that content investment dwarfed anything a paid ad campaign could have produced at that stage. The principle here is one that applies at any company size. Better content equals higher conversion before any paid traffic enters the picture. You don't need more clicks. You need more trust per click. One great photo outperforms 10 poorly targeted ads. Airbnb proved that with a camera and a flight to New York. This is where Airbnb built what analysts now call their SEO moat, and it's the most technically impressive part of the whole system. Here's the problem they faced. They operated in hundreds of cities with millions of listing types across dozens of categories. Creating individual content for each combination was impossible, so they didn't. Instead, they built a templated URL architecture. One structure, airbnb.com/country/city/property type, that auto-generated unique indexable landing pages directly from listing data. No manual writing, no content team for each city, just a system that scaled automatically. The result? Over 128,000 landing pages, each one targeting a specific long-tail search query. Pet-friendly cabin in the Lake District, treehouse in Austin, Texas, apartment in Le Marais, Paris. Their competitors were bidding $10 to $20 per click for broad terms like Hotels NYC. Airbnb was ranking organically, for free, on thousands of specific searches their competitors weren't even targeting. Today, organic search is Airbnb's #1 acquisition channel. Over 18 million monthly organic visitors. Customer acquisition cost on those visits? 0. That is a moat. And it was built with a template and a database, not a content budget. The most powerful part of Airbnb's system isn't any single tactic. It's the loop that connects all of them. Here's how it works. A guest books a stay. That transaction triggers a review. That review gets added automatically to the listing page. New text, new keywords, new long-tail search content. Google sees fresh, relevant, user-generated content and rewards it with better rankings. Better rankings drive more organic traffic. More traffic means more bookings. More bookings mean more reviews. And the loop continues. Every host bio, every neighborhood guide, best cafes in Le Marais, things to do in Austin by locals. Every photo uploaded by a guest compounds this flywheel. None of it requires a marketing budget. All of it works 24 hours a day. The technical term for what happens to customer acquisition cost in this model is that it trends toward 0 as the system accelerates. Each cycle of the flywheel makes the next cycle cheaper and more effective. This is why Airbnb's marketing became more efficient over time, not less. Most companies spend more to acquire each new customer as they scale. Airbnb built a system where the opposite happened. Now let's look at what the numbers actually show. Let's put the full timeline in one place. 2008 to 2009. $600,000 seed round from Sequoia. Roughly 1,400 guests on New Year's Eve 2009. The Craigslist hack drives the first growth spike. 2011. $1.3 billion valuation. Unicorn status. Jeff Bezos's investment group joins the round. The professional photography program goes global. 2014. $10.5 billion. Series D, verified by Crunchbase. The programmatic SEO moat is fully established and compounding. 2020. IPO at $47 billion, during the worst year the global travel industry had ever experienced. Investors backed the system, not the cycle. Today, 4 million plus active hosts across 220 countries, 150 million registered users, 18 million plus organic visits every single month, their #1 acquisition channel. Year 1 and 2 ad spend? $0. Valuation at the end of that period? 1.3 billion. That is what a content system does when it compounds. Now let's make this practical, because none of what Airbnb did requires their engineering team or their budget. 3 moves, all executable this week. Move 1. Find your Craigslist. Where does your audience already search before they find you? Reddit communities, Facebook groups, Nextdoor, industry forums, niche directories. Don't try to build an audience from scratch when one already exists somewhere. Build a bridge to where they already are. Airbnb did this in 2009 before they had a product worth advertising. Move 2. Upgrade your visual content. Pull up your website right now. Look at your photos, your product images, your team page. Would a stranger trust you based on what they see? If the answer is no, fix that before you spend another dollar on ads. Airbnb proved that better visuals produce 2 to 3 times the conversion rate. That improvement multiplies the value of every visitor, paid or organic. Move 3. Build location and niche pages. If you serve multiple cities, neighborhoods, or service types, create specific landing pages for each combination. Emergency plumber, North London. Wedding photographer, Bristol. Accountant for freelancers, Chicago. This is programmatic SEO at small scale. Airbnb did it at 128,000 pages. You can start with 10. 3 things. The whole case study comes down to these. Number 1. Distribution beats creation. Airbnb's Craigslist hack didn't create new demand. It redirected existing demand that was already there. Before you build an audience from zero, ask where your audience already lives. Leverage is always stronger than effort. Number 2. Better content equals lower customer acquisition cost. One professional photo outperformed 10 poorly targeted ads in New York in 2009. That principle hasn't changed. Conversion rate improvement multiplies the value of every single visitor, whether they came from paid ads or organic search. Fix conversion before you scale traffic. Number 3. Build systems, not campaigns. This is the one that separates businesses that compound from businesses that plateau. The flywheel keeps running after every review, every page, every uploaded photo, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Campaigns stop when the budget runs out. Systems keep running. Airbnb didn't outspend their competition. They out-systematized them. The same SEO approach Airbnb used, finding long-tail keywords your competitors aren't targeting and building pages around them, is available to any business. What you need is the right tool and a clear starting point. The tool we use is SEMrush. It shows you keyword search volume, cost per click data, and which content is already ranking in your niche, so you can identify exactly where the gaps are before you build a single page. Link is in the description below. And to help you start your own version of Airbnb's content flywheel, I've put together a free content flywheel checklist. 5 steps modeled directly on what Airbnb built. Identify your distribution channel. Audit your visual content. Map your location and niche page structure. Set up a review capture system. Track organic traffic weekly. It's built for small businesses and solo marketers who want compounding organic growth without a paid media budget. Free download. Link in the description. If your competitors are paying $15 per click for traffic you could own for free, start with the keywords. Subscribe and we'll show you how to build the system. This video is for educational purposes only. Business results vary based on industry, execution, market conditions, and available resources. This is not professional business or financial advice.